Wait, you said something that I thought was the most powerful thing when you said, like, you felt like God needed to be in the room.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Could you talk more about that?
Sure. I feel like God is no longer So it's interesting because what came to my mind this morning was make America godly again, make America healthy again, and make America great again. That's why.
So
that's what it is.
You can have godly again. I like it. You should use that. But when you said something along the lines of you felt like somebody that like God has someone that believes in God or that has those
people that's going to speak God in a room. So that, because at the end of the day, our principles of this country are built upon biblical principles. It's built upon godly principles. Let me put it like that, right? So I don't leave out any particular people group. So it's built on godly principles. That's what our Constitution, our Declaration of Independence, all of that is supposed to be built on godly principles. So when you violate God's law, you're in essence violating human law. And when we take God out of our conversations and out of our legislations and things of that nature, then we are on a dangerous path, and that's what's been going on. That's literally what's been happening. And so putting me in a room is allowing me to get in there so that God's voice can be heard. And I'm not saying I'm God, but someone who will consider things, consider godly principles. You know what I mean? And ensuring that human rights are based upon godly principles. That's pretty much the best way I can say it. That day when I was in that room, that was a whole situation of going on, so I'm trying to repeat it, but that's pretty much what it is. You have to put godly people back in place and back in office because it's his voice is being completely left out of the equation, and that's a problem. So then who's running our country? As we can see what's going on. What's going on? You know what I mean? And
do you think that it would have an effect on the legislators, even Democrats? Maybe that it'll rub off on them in some way.
It might. It doesn't matter. Either way, you got to stand up. Biblical stories are history is rife with stories of men and women of God standing up against the government. Right? Men and women of God don't get involved with politics. They get involved with the government. And that's what it is. The government is what we get involved with. And the government has to answer to us because they're supposed to be pushing godly principles. That's what it is. America was formed under that. God was based on godly principles. Despite the fact that it wasn't perfect and there were, conflicting and hypocritical things that were going on at the time, yes, I get all that. But at the end of the day, and all of that, a number of those provisions and whatever things were going on back then, they had to be the reason why they were stopped and had to be stopped was, again, it was violating godly principles. And so it went against human rights. And so because of that, you had the abolition of slavery and the abolition of, all these different historical tragedies that went on in our country. And so because of that, the same thing that's happening now. Prop 1 is another tragedy. COVID, another tragedy. And we have to deal with all of this stuff. The wrong people are in office. The wrong people are proposing bills, passing legislation. They're pushing abortion. There's this obsession with murder in this country. There's an obsession with hurting children. There's an obsession with destroying the family unit. It just doesn't make any sense. It just makes no sense. And then if you speak against it, they try to say that, oh, you want to take away a woman's right to abortion. No, it has nothing to do with that. How about I just want to protect children? How about I just want to protect babies? How about I just want to say, is there another way? Is there another way? What is creating the issues in this country and in this state of New York that a woman becomes so desperate that she will find herself at an abortion clinic at 9 months? What situation has been created that causes a woman to get to that point where, despite the movement of this child in her for the past how many months, despite the connection, despite all of that, she makes up her mind to go to an abortion clinic and abort a child at 9 months? There's something deeper going on there, and we're not addressing those issues. And they're only pushing abortion in the faces of women. For what? And how do we leave the men out of that equation?
Right.
Well, the fathers. Who speaks for the rights of the children? I'm sorry, I look at things a little different. You know.
No, I agree. The fathers, are pretty voiceless and all this.
Yeah, the woman's right to choose. What about the father that helped us create that child?
They have to pay child support, so it's like...
Yeah. Like, what is going on there? It doesn't make any sense. So it's just bringing common sense back, human decency back, bringing God back into the room. That's what it is for me.